The bid by the crime intelligence boss Dumisani Khumalo and others to have their bail amendments relaxed has now been postponed for another few days, another week, to allow the state to verify information contained in National Police Commissioner Mamotheme's supplementary affidavit. Khumalo and 3 of the 6 co-accused in the case have approached the court to have their bail conditions relaxed. Newzroom Afrika's Ziyanda Ngcobo joins us now live for more on this. Ziyanda, good afternoon to you. What's become the big issue here now?
Well, Stephen, several issues here. Remember, there were supposed to be 2 sessions this morning. The first to deal with the main case that is being faced by the 7 officials, including Dumisani Khumalo. And then the second was to deal with the application by Dumisani Khumalo and 3 others to have their bail conditions relaxed. Now, this hit a snag when first the supplementary affidavit by Mamothame, which was submitted last Friday, the 5th of September, there was an issue on the part of the states with how late this affidavit was submitted. Then there was the other issue of the merits and what the chief magistrate termed as almost confusion around the contents within Mamotheme's affidavit, insofar as him saying, in essence, that the internal SAPS probe into these officials has cleared them and that they should return to their posts. However, they are unable to do so because they are hamstrung by the order of the courts. Now, the state, through its prosecutor, Peter Serunye, argued that, well, this cannot be. He read out an affidavit on behalf of the investigating officer, Brian Padiachi, in which Padiachi says, well, it's suspicious that Masemola says that this probe has been concluded when he is still interacting with witnesses and dealing with the internal SAPS probe. The same can be said about Thembisile Pategile, who's the Western Cape Police Commissioner, but is tasked with the internal SAPS probe, that they have not actually been approached to actually confirm whether or not the internal police investigation has concluded. And so it was on that basis that the magistrate then said, well, he will grant the state their postponement after they made a request for such, because he says and believes that the fact-finding mission is in the interests of justice, but also whatever comes out of that might actually collapse this entire application to have the bail relaxed. The 4th person, who is Dineo Mukwele, accused number 7, the woman who's accused of being appointed irregularly, abandoned her bid to have her bail conditions relaxed. So it will now only be Dumisani Khumalo, Nozipo Madondo, accused number 3, and Josiah Slikalakala, who's the Gauteng crime intelligence head. On that note, let's bring in then IDAC spokesperson Henry Mamothame to talk about this. And it was important, I guess, for the state in the sense that you also cited a report that the National Police Commissioner cited in his affidavit, in which he said there's also a classified document which you are now going to try and get access to.
Yes, you are correct. You would remember that when they filed this motion last week in their application for the amendment of the bail conditions, they indicated that there was an indication that clarity is sought from the National Police Commissioner. Hence, today, on Friday, actually, we received an affidavit, a supporting affidavit, which we did not have enough or ample time to apply our minds on. So basically, the bone of contention today on this particular application for the amendment of bail was for us to be afforded enough time to engage with this affidavit, as we have already placed on record that there are certain aspects of this affidavit that we really need to apply our minds on. Therefore, we are happy that the court heard our call, and we are happy about the postponement.
What's to be said about accused number 7, Dineo Mukwele, withdrawing from her bail relaxation bid?
Well, we don't have much to say about that. As we heard in court, there are other internal processes, if I heard correctly, pending the outcome of those internal processes within the SAPS. She'll probably come back and make an application, but they are best positioned to give a position on that.
Chief Magistrate Mahlangu also spoke about just how important it is actually to grant the state enough time to go through the National Police Commissioner's affidavit, in particular because of what he terms, we didn't want to use the word contradiction, but what seems to be a paradox in between what you presented as the state, Pariachi's affidavit and that of Pategile versus what he says, the internal probe is done, they are clear to go back to work.
Well, it was quite clear that those documents, supporting documents, in our argument we placed that they were not provided to this court. It's something that is hearsay. So part of our investigation into this and part of why we requested ample time is to request those documents. Hence, we wanted a longer postponement, but we will do with what we were given the 15th of September to try and make an application to source some of these documents for us to be able to give a proper reply to the application.
All right, Henry Mamothame is a spokesperson for IDAC there, Stephen. And of course, the issue is supporting documents. Is there enough evidence to prove that the internal SAPS probe has been concluded? And this obviously has a direct link with being able to prove that it is only this court or the courts that are barring Dumisani Khumalo, Nozipho Madondo, and Josiah Slikalakala from returning to work, as has been argued by these crime intelligence officials. The investigating officer doesn't believe so. He says the witnesses and the stage at which the investigations are at are not only sensitive but highly confidential.
Ziyanda Ngcobo, thank you very much indeed for that update. A very complex but very important court case underway.